Okay, we're good.
All right, so it's 7 o'clock, I'll call the meeting to order. Today's May 14th, 2026. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, roll call. All right. Here. Ms. Bain?
Here.
Jones? Here. Razorjack? Here. Rudolph?
Here.
Pelletier? Here. Okay. Public comments agenda items only. It's us and John, so we are going to make a slight adjustment with the agenda. John is here and he is going to talk through the facility review report. John, thanks for being here. You're welcome to kind of like scooch out if you like, whatever.
Maybe come to the middle a little bit.
Yeah, there we go, okay.
Chair right here.
No, I'm good.
So, yeah, please.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to quickly state, John Shales is here from SMC. He just recently did a facility review for the library. A facility review, or it's also called a capital improvement plan, is being done now. It's recommended being done by libraries. Other organizations do it as well for their buildings. The facility review is a plan that looks at potential facility projects while also giving cost estimates. So not only is this great for helping maintain the building, but it's also great for helping budget and plan for potential maintenance or building expenditures. And so one of the ways I look at it is this is going to be a guide now that I use over the next couple of years to kind of determine, budgeting and things that, normal wear and tear of machinery that needs to get replaced. So this plan kind of helps, I wouldn't say erase the unknown costs that occur with having a building, but it kind of helps you plan so that you don't have these unexpected costs and you aren't prepared for potentially replacing expensive machinery or potential, just fixing things around the building. So I guess I'll go ahead and leave it to John. He's here to give just kind of a brief summary and potential any questions you guys may have about the review.
If I could erase the unknown, I don't know that I'd be sitting
Yeah.
here. It'd be a whole different world of possibilities.
Right?
that happen, so.
Yeah.
Either way, so if you remember, we did do a report back in 2022, so about 4 years ago at that point. You all have knocked off a lot of things on that list. I mean, it was, I was kind of just skimming through it earlier today. You knocked off a tremendous amount of that work. So really doing a great job keeping the maintenance on your building. And I will even venture to say better than most, right? Better than almost all other libraries that we do this for at that point. So kudos to you guys at that point. You've really done a nice job keeping up on it.
Yeah, can I put on record that Pam Leffler, the previous director, did do an excellent job with
Yeah.
this. That's one of the things that John mentioned when he was going through the report list is that you guys don't have a lot of major things coming up because you have done such a good job of using the 2022 report and,
Really using it as a good guidance, so.
Yeah. And so Jeff and I sat down with Pam before she left, kind of went through the whole report. We did have a follow-up meeting with Jeff and Tim too, so we've kind of been through the report a few times at that point. Really, there's nothing unusual in the report from my take of things. It did go ahead and identify some things that are a little bit further out, some HVAC units that are coming due kind of thing. And remember that it's not like you have to address them in those years that they're given. It's just kind of a good practice of don't be surprised.
Yeah.
Be prepared. It is coming, and then how proactive do you want to be at that point? But you're doing a great job of maintenance on the facility overall. However you're funding that has been really good at that point. It is an older building with many additions to it, so it does have some quirkiness built in, but you guys are addressing that and keeping that going at that point. So really, those are kind of just some general comments. Love to answer any specifics, or if there's questions you didn't understand, glad to kind of elaborate on that. I think in total, Jeff, we've spent a couple hours, going through it, kind of in detail, overall and whatnot. So, and as is usual, we're always available a year from now. Hey, there's a question on something, certainly we'll answer those and support as needed at that moment. So.
Yeah. For those who aren't, who for the spreadsheet, when you kind of look at that, it's like heavy loaded in the, 27. So can you kind of walk us through why, you know, like how you kind of break that up and how you kind of view that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Things in 26, so just general thoughts, right? Things in general in 2026, knowing that your 2026 budget is usually already baked at that point.
Yeah.
We kind of bring forward only things that are like really important kind of thing, and then things that should be on your list for the next budget, we dump into 2027. A lot of those things are a little bit smaller. I did put, for instance, in the architectural, the gable end ephes finish, just to bring that up. That problem, so when we replace the bay windows on the front of the building, it has that triangular white gable end at that point. That's what we're talking about. There's two in the front of the building at that. Solved an ongoing leaking issue for 2 years, and then it came back over this last winter. If you remember January, February, there's a lot of freeze thaw. There's just a tremendous amount. We really believe that the little bit of leaking that you had in this bay window, that's to the, I believe that's to the east at that point, that we really believe that's a freeze thaw issue, which means it's the flashing. So if you remember, we replaced the shingles on that little gable, right below that gable at that point, but the flashing that goes behind the white surface is what has been existing at that point. So we've come to the conclusion that really, because we were able to get it to be dry for 2 years, that it's really going to be that flashing behind that white surface. The white surface is, over 30 years old. It's a little unclear when it was actually installed, but it might be part of the original building, that section of the building at that point. So it's probably time to pull that off, make sure we got good flashing on there. So that's one of the things in 2027 that's a little bit bigger at that point. Again, don't have to, probably could get, depending on what the winter brings, this next winter, may not have any leaking at that point, but if you want to resolve that issue, that's what we'd recommend. So it's those kind of things that, boy, if you want to prevent it, we'll move it up further. If budget doesn't allow, you can move it back. You just might have a little bit of dripping in there in that freeze thaw era. So, other items, flooring, painting. You can see in the imagery, you're due for flooring replacement at that point, especially on your main level. So it's probably not surprising to you. You spend time in the library, you see the wear patterns and whatnot. Other than that, I don't know if there's anything you want me to highlight. Those are some of the bigger numbers in 27 at that point. So.
Anyone have?
Yeah, no, that stuck out to me as well, like that is a big number, as a percentage of our budget for 2027. So is that, how does that get reconciled? Is that more Jeff, you, and John?
Yeah,
really?
And actually the largest expense for that is that flooring, painting, and tile, and part of it was the toilet renovation up here in the executive director's office.
Yeah.
So once again, we're looking at the reconfiguration of the first floor. I would think that when we would do that project is when we would want to replace the carpet and kind of repaint and do all that when we're actually looking at that. So that could be 27, that could actually fall into 28. I did want to actually, one of the things I wanted to do with looking at potential new strategic plan would be to get surveys from the public, surveys from the staff. I also, Pam had the idea, and I agree with her, to bring in someone to look at that first floor space, to do like a space analysis before kind of looking at reconfiguring it, just to see, that is one of the things that we have issues with, is a lack of space, so how can we better utilize the space that we do have? So that's something I wanted to bring in too before looking at reconfiguring. So
Especially if you're gonna do flooring, then
Exactly.
it makes sense to kind of look at that.
exactly, I would want to look at the space and figure out how we want to reconfigure it, and then worry about painting and replacing the carpet and things like that. So that may be 27. That may also fall into 28. The toilet renovation, I'm fine with the bathroom. I actually kind of like the look of it.
You like the little cigarette.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you never know. As it goes older, you never know.
You don't see those anymore.
That's that would decrease the cost of that. So kind of like what John was saying after speaking with John and Tim. One of the things that I did want to put on 27 was definitely the gable end finish system replacement, just to see if we can eliminate the leaking over by that window. So Yeah, it's just part of the thing I was talking about with Layton. One of the things I'm concerned about this year is we're already getting word that the tax payments are gonna be late again.
Oh,
my
gosh.
So, being first time dealing with a budget like this, I told Layton I'm gonna look at this in a more conservative manner, especially this first year. Especially if we don't really know if the tax, bills are gonna go out on time, and then B, if we get the tax, contributions on time, as well, distributions on time as well, so. It's more of, when I was looking at this year, we've already are getting, bids, or just looking at costs for the, seal coat and restriping the back parking lot. Another potential thing, we're definitely gonna look at the roof inspection and getting potential, roof fixtures. You wanna do that every year. Also, the mechanical and storage room penetration is something I wanna get done this year, just cause it is, code, and it's something that could easily be repaired. Filling in the cracks in the masonry wall, but it all just kinda depends as the year goes on, how much money is left in the budget, and how is it looking when it comes to getting those distributions from Cook County for the taxes, so. But once again, having this plan is extremely helpful in making those kind of decisions, so I was just thankful that we did this and have something like this to be able to use, so.
And when you talk about looking at space allocation, are you also looking at possibilities for reconfiguring the auditorium?
I hadn't
Or is that-
considered that. I know that that's one of those things, just from what I understand, listening into conversations about that. It's something that would be, I wouldn't say difficult, but I understand it could be very costly. So that is something that could be looked at, just to have them look at that space to see what ideas they may have for better use of it. Because I know one of the things I talked about, and one of the things that would be kind of cool, would to have that space being multi-purpose, especially with the size of
Absolutely.
it. It just makes it very hard with the levels. And I know that I understand when they were talking about taking out some of those levels, that's where it gets a little bit costly. So it is something that is on my radar and something to consider if we bring out someone who's gonna do cost analysis. That's not, it's something I would have them look at.
Yeah, I also know there are people in the community who have, just it's not very accessible from a
Yes.
disability standpoint, and being, when it was built, if you were in a wheelchair in the back, that was like access, and in
Yeah.
today's world, it's
And I know one of the things
not,
from the discussion I've heard, that one of the talks was, potentially building a ramp, but because of the grade of the ramp, they couldn't do it, so.
And every time you have to get that lift service, it's $1,000.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that is something that, we can look at, it just could be something that is costly. But
Sure.
if it's better for the public, that's something we can plan and budget for.
it's also a lot of space
Yes,
that it would be freed up for.
like you say, potentially having multiple programs occur at the same time, or multiple meetings, because a lot of libraries, when they have a space like that, that's how it's used. But because of the way it's built, it's hard for us just to simply put up one of those divider walls because of the
Right.
stuff, so.
Can the floor be lifted, so it's just one big stage? Is that?
That I don't know, I haven't been in on that conversation,
I
those
don't know anything
conversations.
about that, but okay.
I was just part of the conversations with potential, they were thought of the ramp idea, but with the grade,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be able to do it.
I also have a question for you.
It can be.
Well, it seems cheaper than filling it with concrete or something.
It's much cheaper to fill it in than to dig it out. So, because it was built with those steps in it, you can fill it in. Typically Gail Borden Library had a stepped, recessed children's area at one point. We filled that in. What that process looks like is actually high-density foam to keep it light, and it's cheap at that point, and then you pour concrete over the top of it. So it would be a concrete floor, so it'd be the durability, and you can make it look like a meeting room at that point. So it's, very doable, relatively straightforward to do. It doesn't mean it's totally cheap, we'd have to look at that, but that's the first I've heard of that, that's interesting.
Good to know. And just looking at this 12-year total of around $3 million, is that is that typical? Is it high end? I mean, there was contention many years ago in the community over, do we build a new library or do we stick with the library we have, and the people who got on the board were very much stick with the library. We have people, and, yeah, so I just wanna know, like, it sounds like a lot of money, but maybe that's just a typical amount of money, given the age of our building and the various.
It's not typical, it's, probably the lowest I've done in the past
okay.
5 years.
Okay, well.
For 3
That's
years.
right, that was a good decision.
Yeah, typically, I'd say the average, and I haven't studied it, but just from, going through my head, it kind of total, the average, 12-year total for, well, okay, different size libraries, right?
Sure.
But I'm used to seeing up over 10, so 10 to 12.
Oh, okay.
In that 12-year, kind of $1 million a year kind of thing. So, for that to be only 3 in my world that's, especially for an older building. You know, if this
Yeah,
building were
especially
only
for
10
an
years
older
old, okay, that would make sense, but for,
Yeah, great, okay,
no, it's in really good
thank you
shape.
for that. Yeah.
Great. And that kind of matches what Pam had been budgeting for previous years, was between like 250, 300,000 a year towards projects like that, so.
Yeah.
Because of our building's so special, so.
But it was that $416,000 for FY '27 that had me shaking.
Well, I mean, I also, I made sure I looked at too, and I think this is really helpful, is that, the priority kind of like level that you put
Yes.
on everything too.
Mhm.
And, that maybe, I feel like helps gives you some
Yes.
guidance,
Yeah.
like, alright, so let's maybe
These are
prioritize
things
this
that you
right
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
And this kind of like, if it's a 3, then okay, maybe I have some time to kind of, so, while I know that 416,000, like, you know, seems, you know, intimidating, but it also like, that's if it was absolutely everything all in 1 year, which it doesn't have to be, so.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so I think that the priority level helps a lot too. Does anyone have any other questions for John in terms of how everything was assessed, or, we've trusted you a lot with doing these for us, so we do appreciate, your time, and thank you for coming out tonight,
Yeah,
so.
you bet, glad to be a part of the team. So,
Yeah, thank you.
And if there's questions that come up later, just let me know, I can answer them. So.
I'm sure we will. Have a good night, John, thank you so
Good
much.
night.
Thank you,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
you too.
All right. Super helpful, of course. So, all right. So next we have the consent agenda. Does anyone want to pull anything off before we approve?
I think I'm missing a page, maybe? Yes.
Oh, just that you missing a page?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That one.
I
No,
just have
that's
a
the one.
question.
I have that one.
On-
This one.
Which, on the consent agenda?
No, on which
Oh,
item?
the, non-library resident fee, I just wanna confirm, that's not, we're not charging people, that's just if someone wanted a card. It's
Yeah.
not like Skokie, people can't borrow from here.
Exactly,
Okay.
basically, there are unincorporated areas within Illinois,
Okay.
so that's who it applies to
Okay.
essentially,
Just confirm.
And this is almost like bookkeeping, like we have to approve this every year.
Yeah.
Just to have that on there, so. Okay, then I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes board meeting minutes from April 9th, 2026, April 2026 financial statements, resolution number 2026-003, resolution corrections, scriveners, am I saying that right? Error in resolution numbering, and resolution number 2026-04, resolution to adopt a non-resident library fee.
I'll second it.
Okay, we'll go to that. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes.
Jost?
Yes.
Basinger?
Yes.
Moldowski?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes.
Right. So, next is presence report. Well, it's just first official meeting. So, we're very excited to have you. Next, so, Tamara did send, Jeff and I an email to let us know that June, you know, tournament schedule and everything. With summer meetings coming up, and I know a lot of us can get busy, so please make sure that you're just reaching out to Jeff and I ahead of time so we can make sure that we have quorum. that would be really helpful. And then, we will hand these out, but we, in this day and age where everyone is complaining about things, we received a really lovely email about, Marlene and, one of our staff and how she's just going above and beyond. And so many people take the time out to complain, and not many people take the time out to tell you when things are going right, so, I just wanted to on behalf of the board, we really appreciate, Marlene, and I know that you put this in our personnel file too, but, so, we can cover that in communications, I thought it was worth mentioning here too, so. Okay, so committee reports, finance, we covered under consent agenda, and facilities, we'll talk about more under, unfinished business. Also under facilities, I just kinda wanna just put it out there and we can, kind of revisit this too, but I am thinking that, maybe just like a couple facility walkthroughs a year would probably be helpful, another set of eyes. And we can do this, we can do this with Jeff, we can do, and it's, I don't want it to be like a nitpicking, like, well, Jeff, you didn't do this and this, but maybe another set of eyes to kind of just, fresh idea on things. And I feel like this can also maybe help, with your like planning as well too, because we have this from John, which is super helpful, but you're the one who's gonna have to find the balance of like, the things that we need to do and the things like, landscaping for maybe outdoor programming, and how can we maybe do like the things we wanna do and the things we need to do, and maybe, so kind of doing, maybe more of those, kind of get our heads together would be good, so just putting that under his radar, but okay, and policy committee will meet in June. So I know we have a member of our policy committee not here, but, and I will send a message to Mark too, like, so I would also like to, if you have a preferred method of contact too, like let Jeff know too, cause that's helpful, like if you're just like, you know what, I wanna check my email, like, whatever it is, you don't need an excuse, but if you're like, text me or whatever, I think Jeff is happy to do that as well too, so, and that goes for everyone, but like, so, do you wanna like share a couple days that you think that could work in June, and then just tell Mark.
My weeknights in June are pretty open at this point, so.
Yeah, the first week of June is not great for me, but other than that, I'm flexible as well, so.
Do we maybe wanna aim for the week of, well, I can't do the 18th, but the 15th, 16th, or 17th?
Yeah, we can do that.
And then, what I can do is I can confirm through text, is that the best way?
Yeah, that's good.
Once we get a hold, I can get a hold of Mark, and we can see one of those dates work, and then
Yeah.
Awesome.
set up a time.
So we're down to staff reports, so highlight some things, tell us how the first 2 weeks have been going.
It's been going great. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm getting a lot of firsts out of the way, so that's good. It's just been, the staff have been really great so far, especially the managers. They've been really receptive with me in my new role, and have kind of, they've embraced me in my new role, and it's just great working with them. I can't tell you how great Leighton's been. He's been a lifesaver. I really appreciate Leighton and just everything, and how much he's helped me through the transition period as well. Pam helped me through the transition period as well. That first week, we've already called her twice for a couple questions we had. Overall, it's been going great. It's just a different role, looking at things from a different perspective. Already just getting the facility review and going over that, looking at the budget. It's like, wow, I used to think of this in a different way as a manager, and now I have to think of this. Not only was I looking at this, but I'm like, okay, what are insurance costs gonna be next year?
Yeah.
What are, how is this gonna affect other things that we were potentially planning on doing? So, it's just coming at it from a new perspective and coming at it from that role as the director is it's eye-opening in certain ways, but it's also really neat and refreshing to see. And yeah, it's just been great so far, I guess.
Good to hear. Yeah, so,
I was just gonna say, I did wanna highlight, one of the things I was really proud of this month was the launch of the Delhi Park Imagination
oh
Library.
my god, yes.
They had an event one Sunday. Courtney ran the table. We had 25 people, I think she said, showed up to sign up for the program, and then another additional 5 people walked in and said they had already signed up online. And I know that if you look at the numbers, we're one of the higher numbered participants in the program of signups already. One of the other cool things is the Niles Township group who's participating in this, they had Karina help make up some flyers and bookmarks because they really liked some of the other things that they saw she had done for us.
Which of course is amazing.
Yeah.
She made posters for them as well, so just another shout out to Courtney and Karina and all of Youth Services for the launch and continuing ongoing project with doing this. They're still signing people up continuously, so yeah, I just wanted to give them a shout out.
Yeah, I was gonna highlight that because I'm so excited about that. I think that's so awesome. So.
But it was kind of cool because I was at the spring fair this weekend, so anytime a family walked up or just individuals walked up who had kids at that age, we immediately just started, hey, have you heard about this? And some of them had already signed up and were in the process of getting books, so it's just something else to promote, for early literacy and things like that. But it's just really cool that this was able to come together, and that we're utilizing it and really promoting it. So.
Yeah. Jeff shared with me, like as you can see from his he's been very busy, but he's been, really going out there and going to village trustee meetings, going out, around the village and making sure that he's kind of staying abreast of what's going on. And I think he walked away from like the village trustee meeting with an appreciation of how complicated it can get with on that level, and even just like being aware of what's going on in our village is great. So
yeah, not only did I introduce myself to the trustees, but I met the village administrator, Chuck, another worker within the village, Zoe. And I do want to go back to future meetings because there's a lot of information that you can gather from attending those meetings just about the village and things that are going on. So
yeah, these are great. Any questions for Jeff?
Yeah, well, on the 21st is they do these
I'm gonna be
quarterly.
there.
Yeah, that's like a lot of people come out to that, so that's a really great.
I'll be there.
right.
I live across the street, so.
There you go, good. Love it. Awesome. All right, so, unfinished business, I know you put on bathroom renovation, just kind of mentioned, I know you're kind of working on some of those punch list items, so.
So yeah, one of the things that did actually get done this week was the gaps within the stall dividers. They added another divider in one of the larger gaps, so that's actually been completed. There's still a slight gap where the door hinges. There's not much we can do about that because there has to be a gap there for the door to be able to probably open. But there was a larger gap that he did a thing that completely covered it. So that is complete. We are just waiting on the soap dispenser to be, it was actually interesting because the guy who's out doing the dividers was actually saying with our, the hand dryer, it wasn't the actual hand dryer, it was a shortage or a ground wiring issue. So he was thinking that maybe what's the issue with the soap dispenser as well. So I know Tim was working with SMC to look into that. So for the mirror, I don't know, I haven't got an update on that. But yeah, so at least one of them have been knocked off with the stall gaps being finished. So
Great. And then security camera installation is next week?
yep, that's going to begin on Monday, May 18th. Tim thinks it could be a 2 to 3 day process. But yeah, FSS Technologies will be out and we'll begin installing the cameras.
Okay, So, as we all know that we, reviewed the bylaws last month. And so, it didn't sound like anyone had any changes, so I'll make a motion to approve the revision of the Morton Grove Public Library Board of Trustees bylaws.
Second.
Thank you.
You can vote on that, sorry.
I'm taking my time, right?
Okay, who's saying?
Yes.
Jost? Yes. Mason J?
Yes.
Moldowski?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Thank you.
Right. New business, we already went through the facility review with John. Okay, so, I will motion this so we can open it up and discuss and then, we'll go from there. So I'll make a motion to, approve the surveillance video policy as presented.
I'll second.
Okay, so, Jeff has been working very carefully with this. You have conferred with Frank, who's our library counsel. You know, as I think, several trustees mentioned that it was a good idea to have. I think everyone felt a little bit more comfortable too, once we were actually having the videos installed, to have a surveillance policy as well too. So, do you wanna talk us through how the discussion with Frank and
Yeah.
parts of it, or?
So another shout out to Pam and Courtney Schroeder, who helped with the drafting of this policy. I also did confer with other library directors, and we extensively looked at other libraries' security camera policies to kind of help draft it. But yeah, one of the things, once we finalized the draft, I conferred with Frank as well. We hit all the major key points of what's important to have in the security camera, or we're calling it surveillance video policy, such as the notice that we have the cameras, that it's not going to be in places where there's expectations of privacy. The storage and management of the data is in there. And then, for me, it's the release of potential footage if there are any requests for that. His other thing was to, take out liability, which is one of the reasons why we wanted to put surveillance video policy versus security camera policy. We felt like surveillance video kind of better described how we're gonna use it, because we're not using it to look at live footage. We're gonna basically be using it to look at archive footage if there are any potential incidents or any
If and when
requests.
it's needed.
Yeah, if and
Yeah.
when it's needed.
You don't have a security officer sitting there staring at
Exactly.
the video all
Yeah.
day, yeah.
Some libraries actually do utilize it in that manner, we are not. We're only gonna use it if there's any particular instance where we need to look at video, or if there are any potential requests, either by law enforcement or by the public.
Questions for Jeff?
I have a question. I see that there's gonna be signage posted at the entrances.
Yep.
Will there be signage anywhere like near parking? I say that because my experience has been putting signs in areas where there might be potential activity will deter usually any of that, so it's kind of like as a proactive measure.
That we hadn't considered, cause I know one of the things you just have to do is notice into the building, and I know right now we're only gonna have one camera that's gonna partially maybe show the parking
Yeah.
lot. I can look into that further, just, to see what
Even
other
like a
libraries are
small
doing.
yard?
Yeah,
Well,
right.
right, the book drop, that's what. Is
Yeah,
the
that
book
actually-
drop, like, that's
yeah.
being monitored, isn't that? Cause wasn't that a concern?
Yeah, I don't know for certain what the range width-wise of the camera is, but I know that it is gonna be at that part of the building that's gonna be pointed towards the staff entrance, which I would assume, I think does cover some of the book drop. And that back, those back spaces, cause that was part of the issue of why we wanted it there, was we have had our book drop hit by cars twice. And that's why those concrete pillars are
Yeah.
going down. So yeah, I think it does actually cover the book drop as well,
Yeah,
so.
good question though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, never would
I
consider.
can look into that to see what other places do with that.
Yeah, so, okay, I, just thinking about that comment, I think it's really good, and my initial reaction was like, yeah, that's great. Then I started to think about like broader surveillance issues. I don't know if anyone knows about flock cameras or reads any of these stories about how it's being abused. And I wouldn't want someone to feel unsafe dropping off a book because they're being surveilled.
Keep going on that, unpack that.
Yeah, and well, and we're not doing that type of surveillance, so like community, you know, I don't know what the message is like.
Wouldn't they already be on camera checking out the book if that was an issue?
I hope we're not,
Well, what I mean is that there's cameras in the library,
right.
that there'd be footage of them walking out with the book too, if that book was particularly dangerous.
Oh, I wasn't thinking about the book, I was thinking more about like car surveillance, like, but I know we're not.
We would
designed
release
to
footage if it
do
did show that,
but
yeah.
right, yeah, I don't know what the balance is and how many people that would impact, if anyone, but.
Why would someone feel, I wanna understand where you're coming from, like, having someone's,
Like someone who's undocumented, you know, am I being watched? Well, you're right, it would impact them in the library.
it would impact them in the
As
library
well.
too,
Yeah.
potentially, you know. I mean, and, you know, and we're not using it as like,
Right,
you know, we're not
right,
having.
we're not doing that
We're
kind
not
of
having like a,
surveillance.
you know, a constant, security guard presence, but I see Eliana's point too.
No, I'm glad you brought it up.
Yeah,
Because
no, I
stuff
think that
happens
was
to
a
cars
great
all the
point.
time, so I
Yeah.
think it is important for us to
Like,
have
like
some
if,
view out there.
if the next time someone like, you know, runs into that space, you know, would it be, you know, and it causes potential damage, would it be prudent for us to actually have something to show?
That was
Yeah.
actually one of the things I was thinking that most public would request footage for would be they thought their car was hit in our parking lot and they wanna see if there's video footage of it. It's that, and that's what libraries do get a lot of requests for, are things like
Or
that.
things like that?
Yeah, where it's,
I appreciate the thoughtfulness,
and
I
then-
really do, yeah.
and, you know, in doing more research on this, you know, if some kind of law enforcement would come in and request video like that, they would need a court order or a subpoena or some kind of warrant before
Yeah.
we would ever release footage like that. And I actually came up with a document, because one of the big things too is the, you know, the confidentiality of library records, where the only time we can ever give out any information without a court order or warrant is if it's an exigent circumstance. So I actually created a form now with this, if for some reason they came in and said there's a code out, or it's not a code out, what is it called, a Amber Alert. We
Oh,
think they
yeah.
were in the library, and
Yeah.
release this footage, but we don't have the court order for it.
Yeah,
Where we can release information as long as it's not pertaining to how they use the library or anything they've checked out, if it's a circumstance like that.
Right.
So I did create a form to where we do have something like that, where we would document the agency, the officer, and their badge number, and they'd have to sign off for it, and they'd have to tell us what they're looking for, so that way it puts the onus on them then for coming in without a court order or a warrant looking for that information.
so you're saying you would give it to the police
No,
without?
Well, no, so we can only give certain information if it's
Okay.
a circumstance like that. We can't
Yeah.
give all information, but if it was like a name or a phone number or address, if they said that it was a dire situation where they didn't have the time to get it, that's the only time law enforcement can ever come in and request information like that. But other than that, if they do come in, they need a court order or warrant or subpoena to be able to get any kind of information from us.
Yeah. How's everyone feeling about the policy, the meat of it, like? Yeah, I think maybe reaching out to some library college, maybe see if they, you know, like library signs outside, maybe that's a good way to start and see. Everyone feeling good to approve? Any vote? Yep.
We'll vote on that. Jost?
Yes.
Messenger?
Yes.
Wadowski?
Yes.
Pelletier, yes. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Hussein?
Yes.
All right, so next up, Jeff and I talked about this, is the August board meeting. So, if everyone, looks, that falls on August 13th. And, I think this is perfect, and I think it's great, and I hope he gets in, but Jeff has applied for the Directors University, so this is like a really good, like, I don't know, orientation kind of thing, you know, for new library directors. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that you get in. I hope you do. So, and this would conflict with our August board meeting. So, here are two options. We could either cancel August. We have in the past, like August can be, you know, like summer reading kind of dials down, and we can kind of, you know, a lot of times we have less business maybe in August, or we can move August board meeting date. So we can kind of share your thoughts.
Jeff, what are your thoughts? Because you're new and it's just a few months away.
I wouldn't mind moving it. If we were to move it, I would suggest moving it back a week.
Oh yeah, totally. If we were to move it, I would suggest the 20th rather than like the week before, like,
If you
because that's earlier meetings in the month is tough for the directors to get all their stats and everything
Yeah.
ready. So, what does everyone think about August 20th?
I'm going to go see Ricky Martin that night, so.
Oh, that's fine.
But you should do
Or at least that's me.
But, I mean, you all have kids, like, does that interfere with the start of school or back?
I have no idea. I don't know any details yet, but I know sometime in August.
Niles
Yeah.
West starts on the 11th.
Yeah.
Parkview starts on the 24th.
That's so early.
I know, we have to rush back from LA.
Oh my gosh.
New niece because of.
Now
Now
it starts
we'll
early,
start
and
on
then
the
if you're in a fall sport, you start the week before.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
That's,
Oh,
I know,
no,
it's
she's
crazy.
not a false
Yeah.
sport.
So,
wow.
we could also, well, how's the 20th for everyone else?
20th works for me.
We could potentially do a Wednesday night, like it doesn't have to be.
Please.
Because
I'll be living La Vida Loca.
no, but if we had like two solid people that definitely couldn't make it, then we were like, like,
I understand. Please.
what do we think about August 20th? Should we go for it?
If we're gonna move off the 20th, Wednesdays are not good for me,
Okay.
so.
Alright, well, let's
Roll with the 20.
let's go with the 20th then. And we know that Leon's
Yeah.
very busy that night. I hope you have fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And this is enough notice where we can update the schedule.
You look good at the halftime show.
I love him.
He doesn't
He's
age.
got balance.
Yes,
He does,
he
he
must be
great.
kind of old
I mean,
now.
he's had some help, I'm sure.
Just because he had some help, I kind of wondered that too.
I was surprised how young he looked at the halftime show.
So, all right. So thank you all for that. So communications. So not only did we get that lovely email about Marlene Marks, you know, basically, and this is someone who wrote this email. He doesn't even live in Morton Grove, but just had to, you know, commend Marlene for going above and beyond for,
That's very
you know, very nice. And then Jeff also is sharing another one about how amazing the imagination of this librarian. So which is, of course it is. So,
Yeah, the library went to the ECA Fun Fair, and so that's a letter from the ECA just showing appreciation for attending
yay, that's cool.
the contributions toward it.
Yeah, this is good stuff. You know, again, people reach out when there's negative things to say. I always love it when you get something positive too. And I hope everyone took a look at the stats of 106 ways to find your joy. That's, you know, it's public comments, non-agenda items, it's just us. Josh, should we keep it going? You know, we can.
I was just gonna say, I don't know, it's some of the things, there was a record number of attendees at the teen volunteer program this
Yeah.
month,
Yeah.
which is really cool. They think it might be attributed to the way they marketed to the group. So next week we're having Tuesday and Wednesday the study, the late night study program, which is always really popular as well. Right? I mean, yeah, right?
Why not? Do the pizza, right? Yeah. That's awesome, yeah.
So, yeah, there's, the staff's just always great and doing great programming and great things here. So.
Yeah. You did it your first meeting.
Yeah.
So 7:45, meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.